Hello, my people. Welcome back to Get Life Energy YouTube channel. Guess what? The GetLifeenergy.com website is live and working. I checked it out today. Super excited about that. Been working on that for a while. So if you want to schedule an appointment with me for coaching or a massage or a tarot or oracle card reading, you can do that on my website, GetLifeenergy.com. Click the link below and my list of services and all the things is there. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the process of healing. I just had a client who had a back surgery maybe a month or two ago, and he approached me about massage therapy to help him with the healing process of this spinal surgery that he had. So I'm going to be talking about physical healing of your physical body right now, but this also applies to your mental and emotional health as well. There's a healing process whenever there's any kind of injury or trauma, whether that's psychological or physical. So just wanted to touch on this a little bit today because so many people get discouraged during the process of healing. For example, my mom recently broke her elbow and it was a major break. She actually shattered it and had to get a metal plate put in there and screws to like hold the bone together. And, you know, she had to be in a cast for a while. And, you know, this is the deal with healing. Healing takes time, okay? Let me say that again. Healing takes time. So be patient. Learn how to flex your patience muscles and don't give up. There is no quick fix. I know that's a bummer. I mean, some people might say, sure, there's a quick fix. It's called Vicodin. But here's the deal. If you are in pain or you have chronic inflammation in your body from a injury or illness, sure, you can take drugs. You know, you could down a bottle of tequila and you're not going to feel pain for a while. But when all is said and done, after a few months of that type of therapy, now you're still injured and you've got a drug problem or an opiate addiction or an alcohol problem. So do you really want that? Quick fixes are always more trouble than they're worth. You know what I mean? So here's the thing about healing. If you had a surgery, if you broke your arm, if you got whiplash, for example, you're going to be stiff. You're going to have inflammation. You're going to have pain. The body part that you injured isn't going to feel the same. It's not going to work the same. And that can be really frustrating because a lot of us, especially active people, we just want to get back out there and be able to do the stuff we used to be able to do. I have a move coming up and I'm going to be hiring movers with my partner and I to lift all of our furniture. And you know why? Because I've moved many, many times and hired like a friend to come help me, say, carry the bed up the stairs and the couch and, you know, whatever large items I had. And guess what? At the end of the day, my back is killing me. And I've had a back injury before. And now my back fatigues even faster than it did when I was before the injury. So when you have to make modifications, you know, it's like I now know that paying movers to move my furniture and boxes is worth its weight in gold because it's totally worth the cost to me because my back is not going to be sore at the end of the day and I can focus on unpacking and setting up my new space rather than focusing on laying on an ice pack or, you know, putting CBD on my back before I can even do anything else because my back is so stiff and in so much pain. But I had to learn that the hard way by injuring my back and learning that, like, oh wow, my body is a amazing machine, but it doesn't, you know, it's not a robot that can last forever. It needs self-care and it needs to be looked after, and perhaps it's worth it to spend a little money to have someone else do this physical labor and save myself that taxation on my physical body so that I can continue on with what I need to do and focus on what I really need to focus on. So here's the thing about healing as well. When you are working on healing your body from an injury or from whatever, you know, you could even just have gotten out of shape because you haven't been exercising as much and now you're trying to get back into getting into shape, and it can feel discouraging, like you go on a 2-mile hike and you're exhausted, you know. So this is the thing, okay? When do your exercises help with your pain? when you do them? When does the medicine help with your, like say you're taking CBD for inflammation, or say you're taking like a psychological medication for depression or anxiety? When does the medicine work? When you take it. When do your stretches help that you learned in physical therapy? When you do them. So you have to really embrace that this is your new part-time job, and healing your body has to be on the second thing on your to-do list next to eat food, take a shower. It's like you have to prioritize the healing process, because it will work a lot better that way if you do that. I mean, if you don't focus on the healing, you're probably going to be feeling like crap and feeling really discouraged and immobilized, like, oh my God, my body doesn't work, I'm in pain all the time. And maybe it'll be a couple years down the road that you'll be like, I need to do something about this, okay? But if you've had an injury, if you had surgery, if you even just like you sprained your ankle really bad, you have to take care of that thing until it is better. And it's been hard for me to grapple with this. Again, I had to learn these things the hard way, but until it gets better could be like 6 months to a year. You know what I mean? Like, you have to give yourself time. Again, with the patience, it's going to take time. You cannot expect to feel better in a week or two. You know, even with a bad sprained ankle, any of you guys who sprained your ankle pretty bad, you know that takes months to feel totally mobile again, and can be really stiff and really swollen for several, like 6 to 8 weeks, if not more. So you got to think about your self-care. You got to think about rest. You got to think about getting massage therapy, getting chiropractic treatments, like what is appropriate for what you're trying to heal, okay? And if people have told you like, oh, Pilates really helped me after I hurt my back, try Pilates. Like, try different avenues. If you go to physical therapy, by the way, I highly recommend physical therapy for anybody who's got an injury. Definitely get some of that physical therapy through your insurance. And the funny thing is, physical therapy, guess what it is? It's stretches and exercise. So when you go to PT, what your physical therapist is going to do is they're going to have you do squats. They're going to have you do lateral rows. They're going to have you do upright rows. They're going to have you do ball squats or wall sits, depending on what is going on with your body and what area of your body you're working on strengthening. The thing is, when you injure yourself, when something gets damaged, let's say your back got injured and they had to cut into your spine. Well, the surgery in and of itself is another injury. Like my mom's elbow, she's got a nice big scar right there. And she was saying in an update that she sent to myself and my sister and my aunt, thank you, Mom, for the updates, by the way, if you're watching this video. You're doing awesome on healing that elbow. But she said, I have to massage this scar every day. And I actually make a essential oil blend that is called healing oil that's really good for healing scars and healing anything damaged to the skin, like burns, abrasions. But even if you have like a nasty scar, it can help with the scarring, and it can help soften the tissue and help the tissue kind of like get healthy faster, basically. I mean, I've seen some people who have a burn scar that looks but messed up years later because they never really took the time to moisturize the skin and get that skin back to its original texture. So self-care. Like I said, this is your new part-time job. You need to think about your healing as an integral part of your life, at least until you feel better. And sometimes it's important to remember, if you're easily discouraged, or if you're a very active person and you're like, I can't work out, I can't go running, I'm all broken, it can be really depressing. It can make you feel extremely despair. It can feel awful. So your mental health gets affected by your physical well-being. If your body isn't working the way you want it to, it's going to affect your psychological state. So even talking to a counselor or a coach can be helpful to get some feedback from somebody else. But again, it can be going to physical therapy and talking to your person about how you're feeling today, what's going on with your body, what you're doing that makes the pain or the injury feel better, what you're doing that seems to aggravate it or make it feel worse. Because then they can go, okay, if sitting down for more than 45 minutes at the computer is irritating your back, they can advise you then to get up every 30 minutes and go walk around the block for 5 minutes and then come back to it, you know, and they can give you like tools and tactics that you can use to lessen the amount of pain that you're in and speed up the healing process. So remember that you do need to rest. Remember that your body heals when it sleeps. Human beings, when we get into REM sleep, that's the deep level sleep, I believe that's when we secrete human growth hormone, which is like an anti-aging hormone that makes our cells grow back and our muscles regenerate. That's why when you do a lot of like strength training, you'll sleep really deeply. Your body is like so tired. It's A, you've exhausted yourself, so now you're going to sleep better. And B, your body needs that growth hormone in order to repair those damaged muscles that you have fatigued. Like, think about it. If you go working out a lot or you go run a marathon, aren't you tired for the next several days and you need a break? It's not like you go run a marathon and then you get up the next day and go run 6 miles. It's just your muscles need to recover. So remember, if there's been damage to your muscle tissue, your tendons or your ligaments, it's going to take time for those tissues to grow back and recover. But here's another thing that's really important about your self-care. Doing your stretches, doing your exercises, going and getting a massage on a regular basis, perhaps getting your back and neck adjusted at the chiropractor weekly. These things are important because your body isn't going to just heal back to 100% on its own. You got to remember that psychologically we're these advanced, amazing beings that are talking to aliens, but physically we are still cave people, okay? So your body is only going to heal enough that you can survive, okay? Think about it like this. If you are a caveman or a cave woman, and your job is to hunt and gather and survive, if you fall out of a tree while you're picking coconuts and sprain the shit out of your ankle, guess what happens? It swells up and gets really hard and stiff. That's a process called self-casting, meaning your body is like making a cast, okay? That's why your leg becomes this like lead foot and you can't bend your ankle. The reason why your body doesn't want you to bend your ankle is because bending your ankle is going to cause more damage to the damaged tissue. So it swells up with blood and fluid. You get all this pain and pressure. It makes you want to elevate your leg because that's the only thing that makes it hurt less. And you're going to hobble around on this, swollen ankle for the next couple of weeks, a couple of months maybe. But here's the deal. If you never do anything else to that ankle, it's not going to go back to 100%. It's going to go back to survival mode, which is maybe it's really stiff and doesn't bend very good, but you can walk on it. Or maybe you start compensating on the other leg and carrying your weight on your good leg, and now your back and your hip are tight on the opposite side, but hey, you're able to walk. So your body just wants to help you survive. It doesn't want to get you back to 100%. And nowadays in this modern world, all of us want to be at 100%. So in order to get that ankle back to 100%, you have to stretch it, maybe rub the, herbal healing balm on there, the CBD. You got to like massage it, move it, get that fluid and shit moving around in there. Okay, so this is like scar tissue, right? When you have an injury, a surgery, sprain or a strain, muscle tear, or a traumatic relationship, to bring this into the mental health realm, there's scar tissue, okay? And what that is where your tissues are growing back rapidly to close up the wound and heal the area. And that tissue is often very hard, and it's not soft and supple with all these happy little blood vessels like your regular skin. It's like thick and tight and stiffer. Does that make sense? You can tell it's scar tissue because it feels different than the tissue next to it. So in order to loosen up that scar tissue and to, smooth it out, you kind of have to like break it apart by stretching, doing exercises, getting massage, all of that stuff we're talking about here, okay? And also I was going to say, cupping, by the way, is a really good thing for scar tissue as well. Now that my guy's back injury is a couple months healed, I think I'm going to let him know that we should try some cupping along that scar area, because that might be really good for that now that it's been a while that it's healed. But, you know, if you want to get back to 100%, you got to do something about it. This is the main takeaway here. You can't just sit back and look at your scar on your ankle or your hip or your elbow or your back and go, this is how it is now. You know, like, you can, but you're never going to feel the same. So that's pretty sad, right? So if you want to get better, you have to work on it. You have to stretch that area. You have to get it moving. You have to go see a therapist and have them massage the scar tissue. All those things are really helpful for helping you heal. The process of healing takes time. There's no quick fix, and it's a practice. And one more thing about the mental health side of this. I was just thinking the scar tissue analogy totally makes sense, because when you go through something horrific in a relationship, you end up, you know, the scar tissue is where you are really hypersensitive to people that act a certain way, or you know, I call it a spidey sense. Like, you feel if somebody, you know, calls you names or does something that reminds you of the behavior of the abuser, you're going to be like, nope, homie, don't play that. And you're going to like get the hell out of that relationship because you just don't deal with people that act like that. You're not even willing to let it keep it going to see if they're going to go crazy. It's like, you're just going to go, nope, you might go crazy. So I'm not going to be in this. But scar tissue as well could be like having a trigger, or, you know, like, where something happens and you get freaked out that it's going to mean something else. And it requires a lot of clarification there about like, hey, what does this mean? You know, because you might just automatically feel, or let's say you've been cheated on. You might think everyone's going to cheat on you. Everybody's a cheater. So you have a hard time trusting people again. That could be part of your scar tissue. So again, mental healing is the same thing. It takes practice. You need to talk to somebody. You need to figure out the healthy behaviors that you want to activate or employ or emulate. And it takes practice. You know what I mean? Like, you have to practice acting the way that you want to act in a situation where you would be triggered and normally go about it in your normal reaction. Okay. So I know this is a very kind of like broad subject that I'm trying to make an analogy for here, but I think you get the idea that when you're practicing being better about communicating boundaries, maybe you're practicing being someone who is on time for all of your appointments. I've actually been doing really good on being on time for things, although throughout my life I've always felt that I always run late, and I have this like belief that I always run late. I started showing up to things a few minutes early, and I was really proud of myself. So I was like, hey, I'm early to this meeting. This is really good. And I acknowledged myself for that. And I spoke it to the people at the meeting. And I was like, hey guys, this is my third time ever being early to a meeting, you know, whatever. But that's me practicing being early. That's me feeling this weird feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm at this meeting 5 minutes early and nobody's here. How weird is this? But I'm practicing feeling that strange feeling of having this new behavior that I want to have. And like with my partner, he's amazing, and he's always working on himself and growing too, which I love about him. I'm the same way. I feel that being stagnant is like dying. So I always want to get better. And we are learning things about our communication styles. We're learning things about our attachment styles, and it's pretty freaking eye-opening. So thank you to my sister and other psychological health professionals that are helping point me in the right direction about some information here. But for example, let's say you are learning that when somebody leaves the room without telling you why, that it upsets you and makes you feel sad or abandoned or not cared for. Well, you get to practice communicating to your partner, when you want to leave the room, can you let me know? I'm going to go work right now, or I need a break from this conversation and I'll be back. Or, hey, I got something to do, but I'm going to check in with you in about 30 minutes. But some kind of verbal cue before you just walk away. This is an actual example from my life. I let my partner know that if they tell me, hey, I just need some quiet time, or I need to go work online for a while, if they let me know, if they just verbally tell me I'm going to go into the other room, then I can go, okay, I'll give you that space. No problem. I'll see you in an hour, or come down in about 30 minutes to help me finish dinner, for example. And just this little thing, by practicing using your words in the way that you need, even expressing what you need to your partner, oh my gosh, it's like, oh wow, now there's not this anxiety. Now there's not this met need for closure of the conversation. Now there's not this feeling of where did they go? Are they upset? And it works the same way. So my partner, he needs a lot of personal space and a lot of downtime. And he knows that his tendency is to avoid conflict, avoid a conversation that's uncomfortable, avoid dealing with certain things. And so when we run into a difficult situation, I ask him, hey, what do you need right now? And I try to help him verbalize it, because sometimes he processes a lot internally and not as wordy. But we practice, you know what I mean? And I say to him, okay, let me practice saying the thing that you need. Oftentimes it's, I totally get where you're coming from. I hear what you're saying. Or, yeah, I can see how you would feel that way. Or, I can tell that this is frustrating for you. But just acknowledging of his feelings. So, what's awesome is I'm practicing. I want to be better. So, when he's getting like flustered and feeling anxiety, I say to him, let me practice. And then I acknowledge his feelings. And I just watch the anxiety relief come over him. So guess what, y'all? Practice makes perfect. It's true. The more you practice your exercises and your stretches on a regular basis, the more you're not going to have pain in your body. If you have figured out a way to deal with an injury and how to get out of that pain, do those things on a regular basis. And one more thing too, never give up. Okay? Don't get discouraged. Here's another don't. Don't think you're better yet just because you're starting to feel better. This is a tricky one. It's like when you're like, oh, my ankle feels better. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So you're like, haha, I've got my pep in my step. And then you go like jump off of a porch and you land funny and you're like, ow, oh, and you kind of re-injure that tweaked ankle because it's not 100% back to normal yet. Be careful that you don't, be careful, okay? Don't like sit on a couch and be like, oh, I'm never gonna move again. Get your ass up and move and do some stuff, but like bend carefully, use a stepping stool rather than climbing on a chair. Just, be careful about how you go about resuming your normal activities. Practice makes perfect. If like I had a really nasty back injury. I'm gonna make a long form video about this at some point, about the mind fuck of injuries and how much it messes with your mental health and everything else when you're like can't walk correctly and you're like, am I ever gonna feel normal again? But here's the deal. You can get back to feeling normal or really, really close to it, but it takes time. It takes actively working on your healing. It takes patience, and it takes practicing. So I learned that if I foam roller my glutes and my hamstrings and my IT bands on a regular basis, and if I traction my lower back, and if I do spinal strengthening exercises, my back feels awesome. So now, to this day, 5 or 6 years after my back injury, I still do those things. I don't do them every single day, but I do them more often than not. And if my back starts to feel sore and bother me, I know that I need to strengthen it and work on it again. So it becomes a part of your life. But isn't it better? I think it's better to have a system to deal with the pain and the issues coming from the injury or from the trauma, whatever it is that you're working on healing. It's better to have a system, some tools, some tactics that you can utilize whenever these problems come back, rather than feeling like I'm a victim of my trauma, I'm a victim of my injuries. You know what I mean? I'm having a bad day and that's it. Now you can have bad days, but you can do something about it. It is within your power. So I just want to encourage you, for any of you guys out there healing from injury, from illness, from trauma, from emotional or physical damage, don't give up. And it is a process, and you do have control and you do have power over this process. You can get help, you can work on yourself, and never give up. You can do this, but it is a process. It does take time, and you'll get there. But keep working on your healing. If you have any specific questions about healing a specific injury, please post them in the comments below. I can do a video on something specific. I've got a video on whiplash stuff because I've had a few of those. But if you want any support for any specific thing, like a sprained ankle or whatever, feel free to post it in the comments and I can make a video about that specifically. But keep up the process of healing. Don't think you're back to normal too soon, because you could re-injure yourself. And just keep massaging that scar tissue and keep doing those exercises and stretches and talking to the therapist and practicing using your words. And as you practice, you will make perfect. I believe in you. Have a beautiful day. Take care.